Welcome back to another episode of Comic Conquest. Today we're talking about Ahsoka Tano, her new series.
We are at episode 3 out of I don't know, and I'm loving it so far.
Yeah,
Loving
it's great. I mean,
and actually, one of my only complaints about the latest episode is that it wasn't long enough.
they're only getting shorter.
Yeah, which is unfortunate, but that's kind of Disney's MO with these series right now.
Yeah.
And let's just talk about where we're at with Ahsoka.
Yeah.
We opened the show with one of the strongest openings, I think, and greatest introductions to who two characters of this series are. I'm talking about Balin and his apprentice, Shin. I think her name.
I don't know.
Shin?
I don't know. I just call her mommy.
Anyway, I really like the character of Balin, and Ray Stevenson, rest in peace, has done a great job so far portraying a guy that has respect but is evil. But is he really evil, or?
Yeah, he has a really interesting dynamic that not a lot of Star Wars characters have of like, oh, I'm good or bad. It's more of like this guy who was raised in the Jedi Order, grew up with all of this, clearly still honors the teachings in some capacity, but also he'll mess you up. He doesn't. He's also not bound by their honor system.
Yeah, he is, as they say, playing the hand that he was dealt.
Yeah.
He did what he had to do to survive the Clone Wars and the aftermath. We're already going to talk about how good the writing of the show is. Dave Filoni, of course, master class of
Mastermind,
writing.
unless
But one
it
of my
comes to the Bad
favorite,
Batch.
one of my favorite lines that Ray Stevenson's character has, Balin, is when Morgan Elsbeth basically tells him he has to kill Ahsoka, and he's like,
Oh yeah, that's a good.
"What a shame! I gotta kill another Jedi."
There's so few of them.
There's so few and far between. And that really just shows the class of this character, right? Because he's not just like, oh, I used to be a Jedi, and now I'm upset. Now I'm angry. Now I'm do what I can. As August said, he has respect for what he used to be, because as he does say, he is no Jedi.
Yeah.
I guess we could talk about the lightsabers, or do we still want to talk about these characters? Do we want to move on to something else?
Shin, pretty cool. Lightsabers. You know, I will actually. You did mention the lightsabers, and I guess this comes up later. But the having lightsabers kind of being a form of identification is really interesting.
Because of how unique.
Yeah, all of them are unique and created specifically to a Jedi, so it makes sense that it's like a thumbprint, and I liked that was incorporated.
Yeah, and kind of transitioning to one of my other favorite characters that appeared in the Clone Wars, Hu Yang, is back in live action. I love Hu Yang, and I didn't expect him to be here, but God, is he a treat.
Oh, he is fantastic. He's just this facts guy. He's just saying what's what, and everyone's like, dude.
Let's just get into it, right? Ahsoka,
Yeah.
what's happening here
She's
looking for the map for Thrawn, or it's to Thrawn, but it's to another galaxy.
Yeah, which is also super interesting.
I think is not. I would say is probably not. The scope of that is so massive if you really think about it. We spent 9 movies in the same galaxy. They're talking about leaving the galaxy, which I would not expect to be in this one TV show that not everyone might see. I would expect this to be a literal movie. They are going to leave the galaxy for the first time.
When I watched the first 2 episodes, I texted Cole. I was like, bro, this is what the sequel trilogy should have been. And you know what? So far, it still is. The idea, a whole new idea of going to a different galaxy is crazy to me. Because we've been in the one place. We've almost explored all of it, it feels like. And kind of this...
Or we keep going back to fucking Tatooine.
Yeah, can we get... Don't take me back. Don't take me back.
But speaking about this new galaxy, we learn more about Morgan Elsbeth, who is apparently a descendant of
The Night Sister.
the witches of Dathomir, which apparently had contact with these people from a different galaxy.
All right, if Dave Filoni says so.
And if there's one way to do it, I guess it's through the witches of Dathomir, because they are some freaky mofos, man.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
She doesn't really look Dathomirian, but
I mean, a couple generations down, there's not a lot of them.
I guess so, man. I guess so. I mean, if we're on that topic too, they showed Hera's kid. Hera's kid's not a Twi'lek, but
he wasn't at the end of Rebels.
He was, yeah. I know, but it's still.
I have many questions, but I also don't want to know the answers.
We'll just keep moving. I don't know if they're really going to do a lot with Jace, of course, being Kanan's son.
I don't know. He made it into a Lego set, so I mean,
he's got to maybe Jace is going to get more than.
He's got to be some kind of character. Also, we gotta lay the context down. Cole has watched Rebels. I have watched the first episode of Rebels. I don't know these characters, and you know what? Right now, I'm grooving with them
Rebels
so far.
Enjoyer.
Yeah. Okay. And you know what? I'm enjoying them. I think Hera is great, played by Mary Elizabeth Winstead. Right? Is that her name?
Yep.
Obi-Wan's wife.
Yep.
And then Rosario Dawson playing Ahsoka,
who really isn't a Rebels main character, but
no. Sabine has been really fun so far. I know you're not the biggest fan of her being a Jedi, but I also enjoy that she's really shit at it.
So we'll get into it. First of all, I really like, as August said, this really feels like a continuation of Rebels in the live action, and it just feels like it's evolved way more. So we find out that Sabine was going to be trained by Ahsoka, or was at one point trained by Ahsoka to be a Jedi. And when this was revealed in the trailer, I'm not gonna lie, I was upset, because you think of Mandalorian Jedi, and the last one that was there, that they've been talking about him for the last couple thousand years as if he was Jesus, right? They've been holding his lightsaber as a literal relic, as if someone had Jesus' flip-flops. So when they announced this, I was like, they realized that if she is a Jedi, she's going to be Jesus. She's going to have to be Jesus.
The second coming.
Which, it would throw off a lot of stuff they've been building in The Mandalorian with Mando, Bo-Katan, Grogu, and like what it means to be a Mandalorian.
Yeah.
But the way that they have done it, which I think is really kind of cool and genius, is that Ahsoka said in the ship is that everyone has an aptitude to the Force. It just takes a lot of determination and will to get there, man. It takes a lot of work. And even Hu Yang says that he's like, there's a reason the Jedi were only picking certain people, right? And then there's also another, I could go on for an hour. There's another genius line by Hu Yang where he tells Ahsoka, you're kind of from a line of non-traditional Jedi also, as Anakin obviously was inducted into the Order way too late. You're talking about his master Obi-Wan, who was trained by Qui-Gon, who was a non-traditional Jedi, and he didn't believe in the rulings of the Order, who was trained by Dooku, who also didn't believe in the rulings of the Order, and it kind of
it's a crazy family tree right there.
Who then was trained by Yoda, who had trained a Padawan for like 500 years, or something ridiculous. I'm sure some Star Wars nerd could fucking roast me, but I just think it's funny that now Ahsoka's training someone that literally has no aptitude for the Force.
I think it's a fantastic world building thing. I think it's a much better addition to the Force lore than midichlorians was. Also, no mention of midichlorians, which has been fantastic. But I think it's a way better explanation to why not everybody is like throwing cups around at each other, right? It's just because not everyone's good at it, and not everyone's good at drawing, but everyone can learn to draw, to use that as a simile or
Yeah,
whatever.
and to add on to that, if I was a kid and I heard that line, I would have been like,
training your ass off.
yeah, bro. Like that's what
Oh,
I'm saying. Like, it's just a
100%.
great little, like, it's little stuff that like that really makes Star Wars Star Wars.
Yeah, 100%. We're getting that little bit of magic back. That I think Dave Filoni is really, not to toot his horn, but he's really pulling Star Wars back to this kind of like mysticism while also being a space opera.
But let's get back to the plot of what's happening,
Yeah,
right? So
let's get to the plot.
so they get this map, and then Sabine unlocks it.
Because she's an artist, I guess.
Yeah, because
She's
puzzles.
an art. That doesn't mean anything.
And they've left Sabine's character in such an interesting place, right? Where she kind of has her hair grown out, and she kind of doesn't know who she is anymore. She doesn't wear the armor, took it off, and when they show the armor the whole episode, right? The second episode, they show it. They keep panning to it. You see it, you're like, I know what that is.
I know what that
and then
is.
when she gets attacked by shit and she goes to grab a weapon, she doesn't grab her suit of armor. Instead, she grabs Ezra's modified lightsaber. And you know, she had a great little arc that's still happening, but it like, just to set her up to
well.
being who she, to being like her own person, right? Which I think is that's the way it's going to, and she's not going to become Jesus reborn, and she's not going to be the leader of the Mandalorians, but to be her own person, which I think is important.
It's a good message.
And yeah. Anyway, she gets stabbed. People are upset about that.
I'm a little
upset
about that.
I will say she got instant attention.
That is true.
But I do think it is a little messed up, because she did get stabbed, like, literally, like.
I will say though, Qui-Gon got it straight through the center. Hers was off to the side. If anything, she might be losing a kidney. She might be losing a kidney.
Recoverable. We're also in a sci-fi scenario where they could basically heal from
most things. Yeah.
I mean, people are upset about her surviving that, but they aren't upset about Darth Maul surviving getting cut in half. So.
Well, he survived on hate and.
Just to point something out, right?
Okay, cool. All right.
Yeah. So we move to like what is happening and why they want this map, right? And as we said, it's the map to another galaxy, which is a really cool idea. And Elsbeth, who is an Imperial supporter, has been secretly building a giant, what do you call it, hyper ring to jump
hyperspace loop,
jump galaxies.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Which is a cool idea, right? And this is a side note that might get cut out of the video, but the physics of space travel in Star Wars isn't real. And the first time I really figured this out, it made me cry a little bit. So they're building this hyperloop, right, to jump galaxies. Looks cool, not gonna lie. And actually the hologram in the head of the hyperloop, hyper ring, where like the holograms appeared, instead of like it projecting, they like came up and they were like gold. I was like, dang,
fancy,
ballin'. But anyway, they go onto the ship. So Sabine and Ahsoka make up after their like squabble and Huyang,
each other,
and they go scan the ship, and they forgot to talk about Hera and General Harrison Dula of the New Republic tries to get the New Republic to help them, and the New Republic says,
like,
no.
Yeah. She had a great line though. Like, did you find it in the one? The dude's like, no.
Yeah. I was gonna mention that. Dave Filoni, great writing.
Great writing. He's great writing.
And they go in. So they go on this mission by themselves, basically, to go see like, because they just think they're gonna go track it down. They don't know about the hyper ring, and they end up scanning the hyper ring, but they get stranded on the planet that is there with Ray Stevenson, Balin,
Balin.
who might be one of my favorite character in the show so far. And that's pretty much where it ends, right? Like,
yeah, I mean, that's where we're at with episode 3. It's been fantastic. Very good character arcs. Ahsoka could so very easily be like an annoying mentor character right now, and she's actually the way that she's written is very good. She's very stubborn, which is clear that it's a carryover from her Clone Wars characterization. And
something also interesting about Ahsoka, right, is that when everyone sees her, they always call her a Jedi.
Mm-hmm.
And then when she talks to Hugh Yang, she's like,
I'm not a
and
Jedi.
he's like, you don't follow Jedi Order protocol. And she goes,
if Anakin taught her one thing, is to not follow protocol.
yeah.
Speaking of Anakin, are we gonna see Anakin?
So that's an interesting question. I think there's gonna be a flashback scene.
I would really like one.
But I don't think it's what people think. I don't think it's gonna be Anakin and Ahsoka. I think it's gonna be Balin and Anakin. There's also that great line from the trailer where it's in the middle of Balin and Ahsoka's like talking, and he goes, I know who you are from your master, Anakin Skywalker. He spoke greatly of you. And she goes, he was a great master. And he goes, few lived to see what he became. And it cuts to like Vader breathing. And you're like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I'm excited for that interaction. I think it's gonna, because again, that's a super interesting perspective. Because we had Obi-Wan's perspective on Anakin, which was his master. I think there's a couple clips of Ahsoka reflecting on Anakin in Rebels, but I think it'll be really interesting, and I hope Dave Filoni really kind of dedicates at least like an episode or a couple scenes to this, where she's like really thinking about Anakin and what happened to him and kind of all.
And so I know you haven't watched Rebels, but like one of my favorite scenes that I think the Obi-Wan show really failed to capture is the discovery Ahsoka had when she realizes that Vader is Anakin.
Yeah,
and most people have seen her cut his mask off, but there's a scene where Vader is attacking him in a ship, and she reaches out to the Force to feel like, what is this? And she realizes this presence she's felt before, but it's dark and twisted, and it's not right. Mm-hmm. And that realization kind of breaks her. And since it's Rebels and she wasn't one of the main characters, they couldn't really touch on it a lot of like, and really dig into it. And the Obi-Wan show completely missed the mark on Obi-Wan discovering Vader is Anakin because he thinks Anakin died. But I am very interested to see, as you said, when she talks to Balin, like, how has she accepted the grief that this guy that she really looked up to became one of the worst mofos in the world, bro. But yeah, and so let's just get into predictions, huh, August? Or we could give it a review really quick. I think, obviously, from what we're talking, it's really good, man. I really enjoy it. And as a Rebels guy, I love it. August, how you feel?
I think it's fantastic. The last Star Wars thing that I really enjoyed so much was Andor, and this is a completely different show from Andor too. But they're both doing something so amazing with Star Wars, and I love it. I forgot what I gave Andor, but whatever I said in that, I don't think I actually rated it.
So what I love about is obviously I'll keep talking about Dave Filoni. This really feels like classic Star Wars to me. You're like,
100%.
You talk about some of the newer shows that don't feel like Star Wars. Some of them are still good, as August said, like Andor. I think Mando's non-traditional Star Wars. It's still pretty good. This really, to me, feels like it could have been the next sequel trilogy. It could have been, like, it really has that original Star Wars touch that I think George Lucas taught Dave Filoni to create.
Yeah.
But let's get to the predictions, August.
Predictions.
Because there's a lot of stuff we could talk about.
Yeah.
let's talk about, first of all, Ezra and Thrawn. Obviously, we're going to see Thrawn. He was revealed in one of the trailers.
Ezra has not.
Ezra has not been.
Yeah. Which is really interesting.
And there's a lot to talk about with that because there's a lot of rumors about what Ezra might have become to survive in a different galaxy, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's also, I might be getting into like conspiracy stuff here, August, but I remember when Rebels ended and I was like, no, Ezra's gone. A lot of people were saying where they jumped to was like the outer rims of outside the galaxies were like where the dark side of the Force was born, really. Don't know if that's true or not. Might be talking out my ass. We'll see what happens with that. Another character we really didn't talk about that I think it might end up to nothing. It could end up to something really cool is Merrick.
Yes, Merrick.
The Inquisitor.
He's got a super cool design, and I saw, this isn't my research, but if you allow me to do some theory crafting here. Merrick's design is very reminiscent of knights, specifically more of an English kind of, you've got the, someone put up a picture here, right? We've seen this knight, it's classic knight design. Merrick is a knight, I believe from Arthurian tales, right? Who encounters a witch who turns him into a wolf. Do you want to? And we know Dave Filoni loves his wolves. First off, do you want to guess what this witch's name was?
Morgan Elspeth.
It was Morgan.
Wow, I would have never saw that coming.
I don't. So prediction: Merrick's turning into a wolf. It's gonna be crazy.
That would be really funny.
That'd be fucking insane.
Also, I want to say something about Merrick. I was really hoping we'd see him fly away with the lightsaber.
Oh my god! I saw him prime his lightsaber. I was like, holy shit! Are we about to get this in live action? Yeah. And then he just yeeted it. I was like, no.
That's exactly where I thought it was going. I was like, he's about to do the thing.
I thought he was about to turn around and just.
Yeah,
it's gonna be so stupid. It's like, yeah, Dave. We better see him just jump out of something and be like, or maybe Dave realized she's like, this is the dumbest shit I've ever made.
This is the dumbest idea.
This is the dumbest idea I've ever fucking had.
Yeah. So.
But okay, but is Merrick Starkiller?
No.
Is he Cal Kestis?
No. I love the Merrick theories, guys, but I actually don't think Merrick's gonna turn into anything.
Yeah,
special.
I feel like he just might be voiced by Sam Witwer. I feel like it's just a voice kind of thing, and like Dave Filoni.
It should also be
my
mentioned,
friend. Come.
It should be mentioned. Sam Witwer has been voicing Star Wars characters
for
like double digits, like high double digits at this point, like the amount of characters he's voiced.
Exactly. He just does it.
I'm still really
Star
open,
Wars.
Guys. I'm really open to a Starkiller show, though.
Oh my god, that would go so fucking hard.
But let's talk about like the actual plot of the show really quick. So what do we think is gonna happen? I
don't think Sabine's ever gonna really tap into the Force. I think if anything, she's gonna move a cup or push, but I don't think she's gonna be strong in it. At least not by the end of the show. I think if Ezra does show up, he's going to be a little weird or something's going to be up with him, and sisterly, familial kind of save.
So something I will talk about Sabine is they kept bringing up her Mandalorian heritage, and that's the reason she's able to wield a lightsaber so well. Not to mention she was taught by Kanan and Ahsoka of how to use a lightsaber, and at one point she was the holder of the Darksaber.
Yeah.
But I do think she will go back into being a Mandalorian, and that she's going to realize just like the Force is everywhere. And as you said, she might be able to move a couple cups, but she's not Force choking people out, and throwing lightsabers and getting them back.
She fucking shit up as a Mandalorian.
But I think they're really going to jump galaxies. I really think that's something that's going to happen.
I think it is. I can't imagine them setting this up, because we saw Thrawn. There's no way they just show a clip of Thrawn at the edge of a galaxy, and then a message comes through like, well, now we got your ass, fuck you. Like, and he's like, my cheekbones are sad now.
I don't know what's going to happen with Baylan and Shin. They want Thrawn to come back for power. I don't know exactly what that means. Baylan wants some power, though.
Yeah. Also, real quick, I'm really glad they didn't kill off Merrick like instantly.
Yeah, that was my thought when they're having the ship fight. Is that like, oh, like this is it? Like, like he had his one fight and now let's just blow him up.
Yeah.
That's what leads me to believe he's gonna do something more down the line.
Yeah.
But I will say I don't think Baylan makes it out of this alive. I think Ahsoka will kill him. I love Ray Stevenson's performance. Or something's going to happen where he's not going to survive. But I do think the character that will survive is Shin. And something's happening there, right? Like, I don't know exactly what will happen, but I think there's a lot of potential there as for her character. We don't know anything about her. She wasn't in the Order. Like, she's
clearly a Padawan, though. She has the Padawan braid.
She has a Padawan braid. This is obviously someone Baylan found and decided to train, which is a very interesting idea, right? That like, and it builds on Baylan's character as a guy with morals still.
Yeah, he's not just like a manipulative asshole. Because also, a very interesting distinction between the relationship from past Sith relationships, especially when we see with Sidious. Sidious is very commanding and rude and very, like, I guess toxic. But like with Baylan, he's like, go, find. It's more like it's not like it's like a parent to a child.
Yeah, it's very Jedi-esque, right?
Yeah.
I don't think I would even classify Baylan as a Sith. He's very much dark Jedi, which is like super Knights of the Old
Republic.
Light Sith. Yeah, I wouldn't even say light Sith. He's like dark Jedi. And you know, the lightsaber colors are obviously a super specific choice. I would be interested to know, like, I don't think they'll touch on it, but the lore behind that.
Yeah.
Like, because it's his original hilt that he built when he was a Padawan.
Yeah. I mean,
so I assume it's the original crystal that maybe is just getting tainted through his, his dark action. I don't think he's purposely corrupting his. I think that like as he keeps like becoming what he has become, it is like leaking. I don't know. I'm not I'm just
actually
like,
it's a synthetic crystal.
Yeah, I think they're hopping galaxies though for sure. Besides that, I got no idea what's gonna happen with Thrawn, and of course we should mention there's still this Dave Filoni movie that is gonna come out. That I assume this is teeing up.
That's totally true. They might not actually solve anything. If anything, Thrawn might come back, right? And then they got Ezra back, and then everyone's like, "Oh shit!" And then you get your super team up film.
So
it's gonna be crazy.
The idea that I think I can't be the only one pondering upon is the original sequel books are about aliens from another galaxy coming into the original galaxy, and the original trilogy characters have to deal with this. It'd be super interesting to see Thrawn. The end of the show is like they get to this other galaxy, and you realize Thrawn has amassed an army or something. Because he is not one to just sit there and wait for someone to come get him.
Oh, 100%. No, he gets shit done.
Yeah. So there's no way he doesn't have something plotted over there. Thank you guys so much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe.
Leave your theories. Do you like Ahsoka? Let us know. And we'll see you in the next 6 years.